Let's get started. All right, so it's very easy to learn how to read the Arabic language. All of you already know how to read English. You're on TikTok, you're using your phone, right? So if you know how to read English, you can also learn how to read Arabic. All you have to do is learn which symbols represent which sound. So for example, in English, this is the letter B. When you see this symbol in English, you know that it represents the sound B, right? In Arabic, there's a similar sound, but it's a different symbol. It looks like this. So all you need to do is associate that same sound, but you need to associate it with this symbol. It's as simple as that. In English, this is called the letter B. In Arabic, this is called the letter Ba. All right? So to start, we just want you to know that this is the letter Ba, and it sounds like the English B. So that's the first thing we want you to memorize. And I'm going to quiz you. I know I have at least one student, Arshed, you said you would be my student. If anyone else would like to be a student here, just answer in the chat. My first question is, this letter here, using the English letters, what sound does this letter represent in Arabic? What sound does this letter represent in Arabic? All right, so everyone here in the chat, you know that this, in Arabic, this is the letter Ba. It sounds like the English B. You all know a letter in the Arabic language. Now, one thing that is different about the Arabic language in comparison to English is that in English we have vowels, right? We have A, we have I, we have you, we have ba, bi, boo. In Arabic, there are 3 symbols that we use to indicate vowel sounds. We're going to start with one. And it's very simple. It is a straight line that we write above the letter. A straight line that we write above the letter. This symbol is called a fetha. It's called a fetha. This symbol is called a fetha. This letter is called the letter Ba. This symbol is called a fetha, and it sounds like the English A. All right? So when you see this symbol, you know that it's going to represent a B sound. When you see this symbol, you know it represents an A sound. So that's all that you're going to do when you're reading Arabic. You're going to look at each symbol, and you're going to try to process, well, what sound does that symbol represent? That's all that letters do. All that letters do is they represent sounds, okay? People can speak English even if they can't read it. People can speak Arabic even if they can't read it. Reading the letters is just to help represent sounds, right? So first, step 1 is you're going to look at the letter. This is the letter Ba. Step 2 is you're going to look at the symbol. This is the fetha. It represents the A sound. So just like in English, you can read that this is B-A, Ba. Likewise in Arabic, this is Ba Fetha, Ba. Same sound. Okay? Very simple, very straightforward, inshallah. So with that said, please, in the chat, write using the English equivalent. How would you read this? What sound does this make? What sound does this make? First you look at the letter, then you look at the symbol. Ba. Very good. Ba. Excellent. All right. The next symbol that we want to learn, we're gonna stick with the Ba for a while. We're gonna stick with one letter. We're just gonna focus on the vowel sounds for now. The next vowel sound that we want to learn is when there's a line written beneath the letter. A line written beneath the letter. When there's a line written beneath the letter like this is called a kesra. This is called a kesra. And the sound that the kesra represents is an I sound. It's an I sound. Okay? So again, just like the same with the fetha, you're going to do the same thing with the kasra. You're going to look at the letter. You know that this is the letter ba. It represents the B sound. So when I teach, I do exercises. What you would do is beneath it, you would write the letter B that represents the letter ba. Then you'd look at the symbol. This is the kesra. It represents the I sound. So you'd write an I, one step at a time. So how would you read this? B. Excellent. Very good. So, B. All right? And then there's just one more vowel sound to learn. And this is called a dhamma. And it's like a loop. It's like a loop shape. And this represents a U sound. This represents a U sound. So, again, same as the fetha, same as the kasra, same process. First, you're going to look at the letter ba. So we know that that represents a B sound. Then we're going to go to the symbol. That's a dhamma. The dhamma represents the U sound. We're going to write a U. Boo. Okay, and we're just starting off with English letters because we know English. This is a good step toward learning Arabic. Eventually, inshallah, you're going to reach a point where you're just going to be reading the Arabic. You don't have to think, oh, that sounds like a B, that sounds like a U. You're just going to be able to read it. Okay, now it's time for a test. This is where we get to see if you really understood the lesson. All right? Question number 1. What letter is this? Or you can just write, what sound does this letter represent? Very good. Excellent. This represents the B sound. It's called the letter ba. It represents the B sound. All right, now I'm going to quiz you on the symbols that represent vowel sounds. Write the answer, okay? How would you pronounce this? How would you pronounce this? Let's see in the chat. B. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. May Allah bless all of you. B. Excellent. And how did we reach that? This symbol, this represents the B sound. This symbol represents the I sound. B. Very simple, right? What about this? How would we read this? What sound does this make? Boo. Excellent. Boo. Why? This symbol represents the B sound. This sound represents the U sound. Boo. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, one more symbol. One more symbol. There we go. How would we read this? How would we read this? I was not born knowing Arabic. I didn't start studying Arabic until I was about 21 years old. Ba. Very good. Ba. You are all excellent students. Allahumma barak. All right. Where should we go from here? Okay. The next step that we want to do is we want to learn, all right, we're going to stick with the letter ba. You all know the fetha, the kasra, and the dhamma. The next concept that we're going to learn, this is something called tanween, okay? This is called tanween. When you have two of the same symbol, you're going to add an N sound at the end. It was very easy so far. Let's see. This actually isn't complicated, but it might start getting a little bit more challenging. Let's see. All right. So everyone said that this is the letter ba. Sounds like B. This is the fetha. It sounds like A. Now we're going to learn that if there's two fethas, then we're going to add an N sound at the end. So it becomes ben. Is that clear? It becomes ben. Okay, so now it went from 2 steps to 3 steps. Step number 1. Step number 1, we look at the letter. Right? The letter is the letter ba. Sounds like B. Step number 2 is we look at the symbols. Okay? We see that there is two fathas. So the first fatha, we'll say that's step 2. The first fatha is going to sound like A. The second fatha, this is step 3, is going to sound like N. So it becomes ben. All right? Let's quiz you real quick. So if I have this symbol, this letter, and I have these symbols, how would I read this? How would I read this? What sound does this represent? Excellent. Ben, ben, right? The letter ba sounds like B, the fatha sounds like A, and then both fathas, the second fatha sounds like N. Ben. All right, so what if I have two kesras? What do you think it sounds like? What do you think it sounds like? I didn't teach you this yet, but let's see if you can think ahead. Bin, excellent, because it's the same concept as the previous, right? We already learned this is the letter ba, sounds like B. This is a kesra, it sounds like I. But when there's two kesras, we're going to add an N. So it becomes bin, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Very simple, right? All right, one more question. What about if we have two dhammas? What does this sound like? What does this sound like when we have two dhammas? Bun. Excellent. Very good. Bun. Bun. Why? Because the ba sounds like B, the dhamma sounds like U, and the second dhamma we're going to put an N. Bun. Okay? Excellent. All right. We learned the letter ba. Okay? I'm going to write this up here. This is our arsenal of letters over here. We learned the letter ba. It sounds like B. Next, we're going to learn the letter ta. It sounds like T. Okay, so just like you were able to read this, the U shape with the dot underneath, you know that represents a B sound. A U shape with two dots above it represents a T sound. That's pretty easy, right? That's pretty simple, straightforward. We'll add this to the arsenal. T. This is the letter ta. So who in the chat can pronounce this? How would this be pronounced using the English letters? T. Very good. T. Excellent. Why? Step 1 is we look at the letter. We know that that is the letter ta. It sounds like T. And then we know that this symbol, this is a kesra. It sounds like I. So it's T. Right? Excellent. What about this? How would we pronounce this? Two. Excellent. Same concept. You look at the letter. It's the letter ta. Sounds like T. Look at the symbol. Two. How would you pronounce this? What if there's two dhammas? How would we pronounce this? Tun. Excellent. Very good students. Allah Mubarak. Tun. Right? Number 1, the letter ta sounds like T. Number 2, the dhamma sounds like U, like a U. And then the second dhamma, we're going to put an N at the end. Tun. Very good. I think you're ready to learn a third letter. All right? The third letter we're going to learn is the letter tha. The letter tha. It also is a U shape, but instead of 2 dots above it, like the ta, it has 3 dots above it. Okay, so when we see this, it sounds like the English TH. What if we put this line above this letter? How does it sound? Tha. Excellent. Tha. Why? Because this letter, that's the letter tha. So we're going to write a TH for the tha. Then that fatha sounds like an A. So we're going to write an A. So that is tha. Excellent. See, mashallah. It's been how long? It's been 10 minutes. You guys can already learn. You learned 3 Arabic letters, 3 vowel symbols. The next thing we want to understand about Arabic is that Arabic is written in cursive. So the letters connect to each other. And it's also written from right to left. Okay? Now don't be overwhelmed. Just like it was just like the previous lessons were easy and you all were picking it up very quickly. This is also easy. Inshallah, it just takes, just got to take it slowly. That's it. All right? So we learned the letter ba, sounds like B. We learned the letter ta, sounds like T. We learned the letter tha, sounds like TH. Okay? We also learned, let me see if I can, okay. We also learned that a symbol above is called a fatha, sounds like A. We align beneath, it's called a kasra, it sounds like I. And we learned that we learned that this loop above, it sounds like a U. Alright? If you guys are taking notes, it's good to have like a little key of what we've learned so far. And all you have to do is when you come across these letters and symbols, if you forgot, you just look at the key. And you just fill it in until you memorize it. Okay. So we have the letter ba, ta, and tha. We have the fatha, kasra, and dhamma. Alright, this is going to be the challenging part, is when we start connecting them. Okay? I don't know how good my handwriting is, because what I like to do is I like to have the colors different. So, alright, here's a good way to learn. Okay, so because Arabic is in cursive, there are 4 different variations, slight variations of each letter that you're going to need to learn. Okay? First, is there enough room over here? Yeah, okay. First is how it's written alone. And that's what we learned so far. Okay, so far all of these letters, they're written alone, meaning that they don't connect to another letter, they're just written by itself. So let's use the letter ba as an example, right? This is how the letter ba looks when it's written by itself, and we already learned that. You already know that. However, when it starts connecting to other letters, it's going to have a slight variation regarding how it looks. So if you know English cursive, it's the same concept, right? So you're going to need to learn how it looks in the beginning of a connection, okay? So if the ba is connecting to a letter after it, but not before it, you need to know how it looks, okay? And the way that it's going to look, if I can write it well, it's going to look, I'm going to write it in red, what we're trying to pay attention to. It's going to look like that. It's going to look like that, and then that's another, let's see, that's another ba. You get another color. And this is, let's say this is the third ba. All right. So these are 3 bas. These are 3 bas. Okay? And remember that Arabic is written from right to left. Okay? Arabic is written from right to left, so I'll write an arrow just to remind you. Arabic is from right to left, and it's in cursive. Okay, actually, instead of writing it 3 times, here, we'll do this. So, all right, so this is how it looks alone. This is how it looks in the beginning of a connection. This is how it looks in the middle of a connection. And this is how it looks at the end of a connection. Yeah, so there's 4 different versions of each letter that you're going to have to memorize, okay? We already learned that the letter ba, when it's written by itself, this is how it looks. However, when it's connected to other letters, it's going to vary slightly. As you can see, it still looks pretty much the same. It's just a little bit different. It's mainly characterized by the U shape with a dot underneath it, right? A U shape with a dot underneath it. And the ta and tha essentially look exactly the same, except the dots are going to be different. So this is how the letter ba looks alone versus in the beginning, middle, or end of a connection. And the ta and the tha, I can actually just leave this up and just change the dots. So the letter ta is just going to have 2 dots above it, right? So alone, it's going to look like this. In the beginning of a connection, it's going to look like that. And in the middle of a connection, it's going to look like this, right? And the tha, it's just going to have a 3rd dot. All right? All right, I think this is pretty, hopefully this made sense. It's easier with the book. I actually have a book that I teach this out of, but having to write it on the board, it's a little bit more complicated, but let's do a test. The best way to see if you understood it is for you to be asked questions and answer, because if you can answer it correctly, you understood it. If you answer it incorrectly, then we can work on, figuring out why it was incorrect so that we can correct it, inshallah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 3 letters, and I'm going to vary the color so that we can tell where one ends and one begins. And then I'm going to ask you to write out the sound that it makes, and we'll see if you guys understand, inshallah. All right. We have 3 letters from right to left, 3 letters and 3 symbols. So please write the answer. If you're going to read these 3 letters together, what sound would it make? So these are 3, and I'll show you. I'll go step by step to show you exactly how to get the correct answer. Alhamdulillah, I see some people getting it correct. Some people are getting it very close, but there's maybe a little mistake here or there. I'm going to walk you through it, inshallah. I'm going to walk you through exactly how we get to the answer, okay? So for each letter, there's 2 steps for each letter. Number 1 is you look at the letter itself, and then number 2, you look at the symbol above or below the letter. That's it. Every single time, that's what you're going to do. Okay? So the first thing we do is we're looking at the purple, right? So we're just going to actually, let me divide it like this, right? So color to color, it's different. We're going to start with purple. And remember, Arabic is from right to left. First thing we do, number 1, is we look at this letter. What letter is this? This is the letter ta. This is the letter ta. So the first thing we do is we write a T, and when I write the answer, I'm gonna keep it left to right in English. I'm gonna keep it left to right in English because otherwise it starts getting weird and confusing. So number 1, we write a T for the letter ta. Step number 2 is we look at the symbol above it. This is a fatha. It sounds like A, so we're going to write an A. Okay, that's step number 2. All right? Step number 3, we go to the next letter, right? So this is what? This is ta. It's the letter ta, sounds like T. Fatha sounds like A. Ta. Let's go to the next. So the third step would be we're going to look at the next letter. What letter is that? That is the letter tha. Sounds like TH. So we're going to write a TH. This is the third step, right? We're going to write a TH for that letter. Then what do? We look at the symbol. What symbol is that? It's a kasra. That's a kasra. What sound does the kasra represent? I. So that's the fourth step. Okay? So, th. If we just look at the second letter, it's th. Okay? Then we go to the third. This is all that Arabic reading entails. This is it. Look at the symbol, memorize the sound. Look at the symbol, memorize the sound. That's it. You just have to take the time to memorize the sound. That's what we're doing. You go to this is step number 5. You go to the third letter. What letter is that? That is the letter ba. Letter ba sounds like B. Step number 5. And then finally, step number 6, we then, after looking at the letter, we look at the symbol. That is the Dhamma. Sounds like you. Right? Sounds like you. And that's it. So how would we read this? Ta, thi, bu. Ta, thi, bu. And you see how step by step your eyes, your brain, you look at just like if you're reading English, right? What do? You look at the letter A. What sound does the letter A sound like? Ah. The letter R. What does the letter R sound like? R. Arabic. Right? Same with this. And the more you memorize it, the more you learn, it's going to be easy. Tathibu. Tathibu. It'll be very easy for you, inshallah. That's it. So that's it. If you understood, if you're able to even follow along a little bit with what we went over today, you can learn how to read Arabic. It's as simple as that. Then you just have to go through the entire alphabet, all the letters, and memorize the different sounds and the way that they look. It's as simple as that. Very easy, inshallah. So the method that I use, let me show you. This is a book that I wrote. Basically, I came up with this method due to the way that I myself learned how to read Arabic. I wouldn't say that I learned how to read on my own. I had resources and books and things like that. But I pretty much, when I was 21 years old, I embraced Islam after reading the Quran. And because the Quran is in Arabic, I wanted to learn Arabic. So I started buying books about how to read Arabic. And this is basically kind of how I learned. I learned which symbols represent which sounds. And I just practiced over time, and I learned how to read. And I put together this book because I was teaching at an Islamic school how to, read and speak and understand Arabic. But, for example, I was teaching 6th grade. Some students, just for the first time, joined the Islamic school. They had never studied Arabic before. Meanwhile, I had other students in 6th grade who were fluent in Arabic because they had been going to the Islamic school since they were in kindergarten. So they had already, they're fluent in regards to reading. So what I did was I came up with these exercises that I could give the new students, and then they could do it on their own. So basically, if you look at these exercises, this is lesson 1. Let me see if you can see. So this is lesson 1. We teach the letter ba. We teach the fatha, the kasra, and the dhamma, just like we did today on the board. And then I have an exercise. So they look and they write the answer. Ba, bi, bu, ba. And they go through and they answer. They look at the letter, they look at the symbol, and they write the correlation. And then lesson to lesson, just like on the board, we learned that when there's 2, you add an N. It's the same thing here. Then they just went through and they added an N. And the third lesson, then you start learning the ba, ta, tha. You learn how they connect to each other. Okay, it's the same thing. And then you go through and you do the exercises. So what this book helped me do was I could keep teaching the rest of the class who already knew how to read, but the new students, I could give them these exercises. They could go home, they could do it on their own. I could check it. And over time, many students learned how to read just by going through these exercises. It's only 20 exercises. 20 exercises, that's it. And they're all the same in terms of the structure. You have a short lesson teaching you the letter, and then you have an exercise. But the tricky thing is, so the name of the book is Institute Arabic. If you search if you search Amazon, just search my name, Sajid Lippum, you can purchase this on Amazon. I also have, let me write on the board. there's also a website. If you want the PDF and you want access to an entire archive of videos where I go through this, go to courses.ilmstitute.com. Okay? Courses.ilmstitute.com. And there's a website that you can join. It's $20 a month. You get access to a bunch of different classes. If you can't afford the monthly fee, fill out the financial aid form. It's as simple as that. We want everyone to have access to it. But if you have the money to pay for it, then you paying for it, it helps us keep it going. If you don't have money to pay for it, fill out the financial aid form. We'll give you access for free, inshallah. But yeah, and you can also order it from Amazon. So that's it. That's all that it takes to learn how to read Arabic. It's as simple as that. Oh yeah, but what I was saying was, the tricky part is, the more letters you learn, the more you have to remember. Okay, so it's easy when it's just ba, ta, tha. That's only 3 letters, right? But let's say you just learned 8 letters. And then I start giving you exercises where I'm bringing forth all those different 8 letters. It's going to be a bit more tricky. You have to make sure that you have it memorized. And that's what we do from lesson to lesson. So, for example, in this lesson, right, we taught you the ba, the ta, and the tha. We taught you the ba, the ta, and the tha. And then we started giving you exercises where we rotate. Okay, we have a ta here, we have a tha there, we have a ba there, and you have to memorize. But then you learn 3 more. Then you learn 3 more, or 2 more. And then we start bringing forth examples with all those different letters. So you have to, you just have to memorize it and take your time. One mistake many of us make when we try to learn Arabic is we overcomplicate it and we overwhelm ourselves. If you take it one step at a time and you solidify the information and then you move on to the next one, inshallah, God willing, Allah willing, you can definitely learn how to read Arabic, to speak Arabic, to understand Arabic. But sometimes, some of these books and some of the ways that it's taught, it's so overwhelmingly complicated, but it doesn't have to be. So, yeah, so this is if you just search my name on Amazon, Sajid Lippum, you can order the book. If you go to this website, you can join, you can get access to the videos. And a major part of it is the student, doing the exercises. As a teacher, I'll just be honest, a major reason why people don't learn is simply because they don't put in the time consistently. If you put in 15 minutes a day, and you just practice, then not only are you going to learn how to read Arabic, but you are going to read fluently, inshallah. Because part of it is learning the different symbols, but then part of it is also practicing, just like English. Right? There's people who, maybe it takes time. They're just learning how to read. They'll say, learn to read Arabic. Right? It takes them time. And there are people who can say, learn to read Arabic. It's the same with the Arabic language. It takes practice.